Hi everyone, thanks for watching. It's Mike in Tampa, and I'm riding my relatively new Begode Hero that I actually got about a month and a half ago, and I'm really loving this wheel. I had a suspension wheel before it, the S18. I love that one as well, and had 2,500 miles on it in the year that I owned it. But I figured I needed more range, and so I sold it and bought an EXN high torque. And the EXN high torque is 2,700 watt hours, but I found out it wasn't really for me. It wasn't as nimble as the wheels that I had been used to prior, which were the Tesla, the 16X, and then the S18. And I like being able to turn whenever I need to. The EXNs seem to be great if you're pretty much going straight. And although I loved the fact that it had 2,700 watt hours of battery in it, and it did give me a lot of range, all the range I was looking for. But anyway, I sold it. I had about 350 miles on it, and I had made the decision that I really wanted a suspension wheel, and I didn't want to go back and buy another S18. And Alien Rides was having a sale at the time on the Hero high torque. I usually purchase from eWheels, and they just couldn't come down on their price of $39.99, and I couldn't justify buying a wheel, even though it had suspension, that had 1,800 watt hours of battery for $39.99. So I took a chance and I ordered the Hero from Alien Rides, and had no problems with them. And anyway, I've been loving this wheel. I've been mostly riding on paved trails with it, and really just trying to get used to it and determine how much range I have in it, because I don't want to be stuck somewhere. And what I've been finding on multiple rides on paved trails is that I get about 52 miles of range with 25% remaining. So I'm guessing it's really about 60 miles of range for me, and that's riding in the low to mid 20s. I go faster on this than I did on the S18. It just has more power with the C38 motor. And I love the knobby tire on it. Some people don't like it. Some people claim it makes you drift to the right or the left. It doesn't make me drift anywhere. It's like this wheel is, to me, as nimble, if not more nimble, than the S18. And the suspension on it, to me, is much better than the S18's. It feels more plush. And by that, I mean it absorbs the bumps a lot better than the S18 did. And the S18 was great. I'm not trying to put it down, but I'm just using it as a point of reference and comparison. And this just eats up the bumps a lot better. It just feels like a more robust suspension system. And the wheel itself is, I think, 80 to 82 pounds, somewhere around there. It's very heavy. It's a pain to lift around, but I use a ramp to get it into the back of my car whenever I need to go somewhere. And by that I mean a piece of wood, until Rob Lee and I meet up, and he gives me a wheelchair ramp that we split. But anyway, once you get it out of the car, it's great. So this is my first time on all trails. I've been going on a couple of group rides where we do some trail riding, but it's mixed with pavement. This was the first pure trail ride I did, and I did the similar course on the S18, and it was very bumpy, even though it had suspension, and I had the suspension dialed in. I'm just saying, compared to this Hero, the S18 felt bumpy. Compared to a non-suspension wheel, the S18 was great. But I think the fact that this weighs so much makes it feel very stable, along with its tire. But the way it's designed, you're up pretty high. You would think that would lead to instability, But between the height and then the weight of the wheel itself, I mean, this is so stable, and it just eats through the trail. Where I remember having some issues with the S18 on this particular trail, and it just felt great. It was just a pleasure to ride, and it came with the Begode CNC spike pedals, which keep me locked in enough. If you look really closely, and there's certain times I zoom in. I'm not using any power pads. I'm not comfortable wearing power pads on any wheel. Although for this one, the power pads that came with it, there's no adjusting to it. It's like they're form-fitted to the sides of the wheel. So I am going to eventually try to put power pads on this wheel. But anyway, like in this particular shot, the camera may not catch it, but I'm about to go up a very steep hill in the woods, and I'm sure if I had power pads it would help. Yeah, you can see the hill, and but anyway, I'm going up this, no problem at all. I'm not wearing any power pads, and it just this wheel feels at home on the trail. It also feels at home on sidewalks, and with the expansion and contraction lines that are built into the sidewalks. It's ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And this, like the S18, but this even more so, eats it right up. I think I have about 200, 210 PSI in the shock. I recommend that you look at French USA's first video on the Hero, where he, I think at 410 in his video, he demonstrates his pumping technique and how he is able to get the pump off the shock without losing any air. I suggest you watch it if you have a Hero or if you're interested in the Hero. Anyway, I didn't do any seated riding on a trail, and I don't do seated riding in general, but this has a built-in seat, and so I figured, okay, I'm going to start learning how to ride seated, so I've even started doing that, even though I was never into it. It's just pretty cool that there's no added accessory that you have to fumble around with. It's just all built in. It's just, to me, this is like a perfect wheel. The only drawback is that it has 1,800 watt hours, but I haven't reached the end of it yet, but I know if I wanted to, I could. So I have my eye on the Master after this. This seems to be like the Master's predecessor. The screen, I don't know if you can see it in any of the shots. It's beautiful. You can see it in the daylight, unlike the EXN where you could only see it at nighttime. This screen is so big and beautiful and bright. You can see it at nighttime and daytime. Kickstand in the back, that's not going to get damaged. I'm going through loose sand like it's nothing. It's just a great wheel. I have nothing bad to say about it. I just wish it had more battery, and that's what the Master is going to be for. But for now, this is the best suspension wheel out there that you can get that's readily available. I know some people are able to get their hands on the Master and the EX20S, but as far as widely available, this is the only one that's widely available, and I think it's the best out of all of them. Anyway, I hope you liked the video, and I try to get some close-up shots of the suspension so you can check out how it works. But it's just a pleasure to ride. It feels great, and on top of all that, it just has plenty of power. It was never lacking for power. It always felt like it had more to give on these trails. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.